the book of Matthew, there's a story about Jesus showing up and offering to help two guys in a rough spot. But Jesus doesn't leave them stuck. He helps. We just read Matthew 20, verses 29 through 34. In this story, Jesus was spending time with two men who were blind. Their options were limited because their culture didn't offer resources to help them live with respect and dignity. Sadly, people who were blind were often ignored, and unless they had family who had money, they had no one to rely on. They were reduced to begging on the side of the road. These two men heard Jesus coming their way, and they shouted to get his attention. And they must have been calling out for a while, because the Bible even says that the crowd told them to be quiet. More than the crowd being frustrated, I wonder, and can you imagine how frustrated these two men were? The two men called out to Jesus, calling him Lord and Son of David. They don't just say, "Hey dude, come on over here." There's purpose and significance in the name that they call Jesus, because it shows that these two men believed that Jesus had the power to help them. After all the miracles that we've seen Jesus do up to this point in Matthew, it makes perfect sense that they call him Lord. But what's up with the name Son of David? The two men may have been blind, but that didn't stop them from knowing God's story. Even though society saw them as outcasts, they still knew God did great things from one generation to the next. Many would have underestimated these two men, but they knew the Old Testament, that God's people were promised a king from the same family as King David, the same David who fought the giant Goliath. But this king would be greater than him. He would be a king who included all people who were left out, a king who would show up for people who needed help. The Son of David would be their greatest rescuer, their savior. The two men in this story believed that Jesus was this king with the power to help them get unstuck. And if we call out to Jesus and ask him for help, he can help us get unstuck too.